Good morning, and I want to welcome the Buccaneers costume department to the Alofa Lens. It has been super exciting. It's early in the morning for all of us, so I'm so happy to get my day started like this. So if y'all would please introduce yourself and share which of the Buccaneers style do you feel relates the most to your style or that you have a lot in common with.
Hi, I'm Kate Karen. I'm the costume designer on Buccaneers. And I would say that the style that most relates to how I would like to dress in my fantasy world would probably be all the men's wear, or I haven't seen it yet, but Nan's court looks for when we get to the final episodes. I'm not a frilly, trilly, tra-la type person. You might find that hard to believe because there's quite a lot of frilly, tra-la on the show. But personally, I like clean lines, and so yeah, I would go for the menswear or for Nan's court looks.
That's a brilliant answer, Kate. I didn't even go there. What's wrong with me? I'm Juanita, and I'm a textile artist on Buccaneers. So dyeing textiles and aging the costumes and jewelry and stuff. And I would wish that my answer would have been Kate's answer, but my brain didn't go there. We're stuck in the girls. And I would have most liked to be Conchita in this season, I think, because I liked her business vibe, you know? High collars, cuffs. She was like ready to take on the, and I like that structured, sort of tailored, also kind of clean line look, you know? That would have been my choice.
Hello, I'm Kitty. I do standby costume on set for the girls and the guys on Buccaneers. I grew up in a hot country, so I think the one that I would relate to the most would be Ginny's style in Italy. I love that, like, relaxed, a bit more free, a little bit less structured and tied in. I don't think I would cope with all of that, so I love when she's in Italy and she finds her freedom a bit more.
I'm Gillian. I am the costume supervisor on Buccaneers. And I'm going to go with Juanita and choose Conchita as my style, even though it's not at all what I wear in my own life. I think her colors are beautiful. Her silhouette's gorgeous. She's kind of a little bit racy and out there with her choices. Nothing at all what I relate to in my own life. I'd love to have a cinched in kind of silhouette, which I don't, but you know, a girl can dream, right? A girl can dream.
Absolutely. I love all those answers. And I think I absolutely love Conchita's style this season. Like, it has been like seeing her like business or even like put on that, like, it gives like an air of teacher. I don't know if that's what y'all had intended, but I like my favorite one so far has been the purple plaid with the bow. I fell in love with that look when I saw it. I was like, I need that in my closet right now. It was beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
At the end, I did the last 3 episodes of season 1, and we made that blouse on season 1, but we just didn't have an opportunity to use it. So when the storyline came out for season 2 and she was becoming a bit of a more feisty chick and, you know, setting her own empire up, that blouse was what kind of set the tone for the rest of her whole look. And she rocks that blouse. She looks $1 million in it.
Yeah, it's perfection, and it works absolutely perfect with her storyline this season. I love, love, love it. So one of my favorite aspects of the season is the bright colors that we get to see and that are beautifully captured on screen. I don't know how many times I've said it in all of my reaction videos for each episode, but every time I see anything for this season, I'm just like absolutely in love. And normally when watching historical drama shows, we get to see a lot of muted tones. Can you dive into the decision of having jewel tones and what the process is like getting just the right color, like Lizzie's garden party dress or even Nan's red dress?
Well, look, I feel like for me, pastels are a no. I just can't. I don't like them. Anything that was peach, we call it pesh, would make me feel anxious. I just don't like them. I think they're dreary, they're boring to look at on screen. And, you know, there are certain projects where the pesh has to work because it's the title of the show. But on this show, my approach was I wanted it to look a bit more like Scooby-Doo, so a bit more like a cartoon and vibrant and young and full of energy. And you know, we buy a lot of plain fabrics, and then they go to the lovely Juanita, and Juanita creates. I go in and I wafty about, pretending to be a designer with my fancy glasses on, and wobble about with a Pantone book, and I'll say to her, "Can you give me this tone and 3 tones up and 3 tones down?" Juanita's room, for me, apart from the workroom, is the most exciting space for me, because things go in there goes in as a costume or a bit of cloth, and it comes out of there with a bit of character. And the magic that she makes in there is literally makes you want to dance every time you go in there. It's such a lovely little atmosphere in there. They've always got a bit of music. They've always got a bit of cheeky banter going. It's very flat. If I go in and she thinks I'm talking shite, she won't be short and telling me, no, this fabric won't do that. But really, Juanita can talk to how she gets from what the first idea is into where we end up with her dye process. But she's literally, look, I shouldn't really be singing her praises too much because I don't want anybody to steal her.
I have to say this has been so fun, this job, because of all these jewel tone, most character specific colors, you know. And what Kate has done this job, which is so fun, is that there's so much harmony between all the aspects, you know. It's in the color, in the gloves, in the jewels, in the earrings, in the shoes, in the stockings, in the undergarments, that some people don't even see. But like the beautiful red silk we dyed under Nan's red dress, remember that? To match the red dress, so that she's, you know, it's just like, even though there are elements that maybe are not seen, perhaps for Nan in her character, she is like completely swaddled in this red right down to her undergarments, you know. And that's so exciting, because also matching colors on different textiles or leather or gemstones in earrings, it's all a different process, but we're all trying to match it to that same color. So there's this beautiful harmony. And yeah, that was so much fun. It was fun to do.
What is the one question? I didn't add this in my list, but one thing that I was thinking about as I was coming up with these questions is like, what is the weirdest way you've gotten a certain color? Like, I don't know if you've ever seen Wild Child, but there's a scene where like the mean girl is like trying to get the right brown of Elizabeth Bennet's dress from the 2005 version, and she's like dunking her dress in like coffee, and she's like, there needs to be more beans, and like it's just dunking this dress. And that, like, to me, I'm like, yeah, it's an incredible process which you have to go through. So if there's like, what is like the weirdest way you've gotten like the perfect color?
I think that colors blow my mind all the time. I think I know what's going on, and then I'm like, what? I don't understand. The thing about dyeing textiles is that you're kind of mixing colors in a giant bubbling cauldron on a gas stove, and the water is black, but you're pulling out like greens and reds, and you're like, oh, it's too red or it's too green, so I need to knock these colors down or take me to a different shade. And the counterintuitive process of that is that if it's too red, I'm going to put it in some green to knock down some of the red. And if it's too yellow, I'm going to pop it through a little bit of a blue. So you're like, what am I doing? And there we go. And it feels like ping pong, ping pong. And then eventually you get there. So it's more about playing with the colors of the dyes, because we want it to be so uniform and good looking, you know. Whereas I would experiment otherwise with other things that would give me a less consistent finish, with coffee beans and teas and other stains and things. But predominantly the dyes would just be playing with the colors to ping them until we get exactly to that Pantone color that we're looking for. That's
incredible. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's like awesome that you are able to do that, especially with the different fabrics that you use. Like I couldn't do it. And speaking of like Nan's red dress moment, which everybody talked about, like everybody had their opinions, which I personally loved it. When I was talking with the makeup department, they talked about how it was a really rainy day, and that presented like challenges. And can you share what that day was like for y'all's department? and also like for continuity purposes, how prepping for an unexpected like rainy day outside versus like say the food fight scene, because I can't imagine being presented with like, you're going to create this beautiful costume, but then we're going to throw food at it. Were there any like foods that y'all were like, do not, in order for us to like maintain like integrity, do not throw this food at this costume?
Well, I would say that Kitty would be the right person to answer those questions. She's literally the queen of the set, so I'm sure she can answer for you.
The food fight was definitely a fun and interesting day. There was like loads of conversations with all the higher ups about what food was allowed to be thrown and what was not allowed to be thrown. And we were filming in Croatia at the time. And when we do things like that, we have multiples of each costume. So we'll start with like a hero version. And then once that gets to a point of like, we can't bring it back to where it was, we will then change them out into like a carbon copy of the original one. And when we went and did the food fight scene, they were throwing spaghetti. And when we first got there, the spaghetti was like doused in olive oil. And we were like, no. And they were like, what do you mean? It's clean spaghetti. And I was like, that oil is going to stain and we can never bring that back out. So the poor art department was there rinsing the spaghetti in water to try and get the oil off of it so we could do the food fight. But it was a lot of fun, the food fight, and it didn't get as messy as we thought it was gonna, but it reads really well on camera. And the resets, we didn't even have to change them into the doubles. We just managed to wipe it off, clean it off a bit, took a couple minutes in between. I think makeup had a tougher time with the mashed potatoes and the hair than we did with getting it out of the costume, but it was a lot of fun. And the red
spaghetti anyway.
You what, sorry?
Couldn't have had mashed potato and spaghetti in the same meal.
No, but Jenny can't cook.
That's a carb overload.
Yeah, the red dress was definitely one of my busier days of the whole job. It was my first day of shoot with Christine back in Scotland after we'd come back from Croatia, and the vibes were very Croatia. We had minimal cars. We were like living our best sunshine life, and then I came back and it was like red dress, let's go. It took 3 people to dress her when we were doing it, and then when she had her train, she had a train that was like, obviously, as you've seen, like meters and meters long, but we'd only put that train on if we were going to see it on camera, so that she had more ability to move and it was easier for camera to get around her. When she had the train on, it took me and another person to walk behind, like carrying it. When she wasn't on camera, it was long. Even when Dean had to go to the toilet, we were out there with the train and all.
The fact that it's detachable, that's one thing that I wouldn't have never guessed is like, the shooting, the dynamics of like how to get the shots and like making it detachable so that the cameraman could get around. That is incredible. Like,
yeah, they think of everything in our office. We're very lucky. Whenever we get things brought to set, they've always thought about every single which way that it could go for us on set. So whenever we can make it easier for the girls, because a ball gown and a corset is not exactly like the comfiest, easiest thing to get around. So whenever you don't see the bottom half of their dress, they're usually clipped up to their knees, so they've got a bit more ability to move around and it's not so restrictive.
That is so cool.
The team very much help us with the detachableness of things.
Yeah. Wow, that's incredible. Now I'm gonna have to go rewatch that episode so I can be like, where is it? Like,
no, don't.
No, I think they hit it pretty well.
Find any holes in the continuity. If you can see a little bit of a knee or a trainer, then Kitty will be very upset.
Well, I'll say this: the first watch, absolutely nothing. I'm sure, like the second watch, I still won't see it because like everything has been done amazingly well. I mean, it's not like you're leaving a Starbucks cup on a table like Game of Thrones did years ago. One topic I've seen discussed a lot online from historical drama fans is the timing of these shows' releases, which I can imagine it takes a lot of time and money that goes into creating not just the principal cast like looks, but also the background actors. Can you share some insights into what makes dressing a historical drama like the Buccaneers more time-consuming and maybe even more expensive than a modern-day show?
You want to run with that, Gillian?
Time and money. I mean, that's the question, isn't it? Eh? So specifically, I mean, period dramas are tricky because you can't just run to the shop. I mean, as Kate keeps trotting past the higher ups and they're like, oh, can we just? It's like there is no just because you can't go to a store and you can't buy it. So we had probably close to 4 months prior to shooting to set up the workspace and start manufacturing. Kate has a great approach of creating a closet of stuff for people, which we can pull to script later. So principals are mostly made, probably 85% of their stuff was makes. And supporting actors, we import a lot of stuff from costume houses. It gets a little tricky. So at the same time that we were shooting on season 1 and on season 2, Gilded Age was shooting at the same time. So there's a limited amount of costume houses that can rent stock. So season 1, America's stock was being used on a production, and we had access to a lot of the houses in Europe, and then it kind of switched around with season 2. So everyone's trying to get stuff which hasn't been seen before. There isn't budget to replicate. So for instance, each ball has its own theme. So you kind of can't go, oh, we've seen all of this stuff, let's push it aside and bring in some new stock for supporting actors. So the background team are really clever in changing stuff by doing small changes with accessories, adding layers, a bit of a shawl, a train, accessories. So it takes time and it takes planning, because if there are some surprises, it's weeks to get stuff in. But I mean, you've got to be organized, right? You've got to know what's coming in. You've got to be organized and anticipate problems. So luckily, we all have that approach of anticipate problems and get stuff sorted as soon as you can, so there's space for emergencies. And you just got to watch the money. You know, I mean, like, it's like normal life. You've got to watch the money because the small little things add up, and you just got to keep track of it. Sounds simple, but
for us all the time, and I'm pretty on it. I've roughly know all the time where I'm at, but mostly she whispers in behind me, you can't spend any more money on fabric this week. You need to spread it out to the next 2 weeks, or you can't have that amount of trim. Can you relook at that order? You know, the thing is, we want the repeat business. We want to be asked back. And a big part of our job is not just making it look pretty on camera. It's about making it be production friendly as well, because you have to work within whatever their limitations. You know, listen, they're super with us. You know, they're an open door. And also you can only budget to what you know, right? So if you only have 2 episodes and then they bring stuff in that is going to make your budget really stretch, or we don't have it in our budget, then Gillian would go to the producers and say, well, you know, we can't cover this. We could do this, this, and this. What would you like to do? And then they decide whether they want to chuck a few more shekels at it, or whether they have to cut their script accordingly. It's very much, Gillian works really tightly with production and the accounts department to make sure that we stay as user-friendly as we possibly can, but that we still get the outcome, because, you know, at the end of the day, nobody really remembers how much it costs except a producer. That's how we get the repeat business. You know, if we get another season, it won't be because we did it on budget. It'll be because people liked it and we produced something that was creative and fun.
No, that's really great to know, because, like, I don't know if you'll see the chatter sometimes, but, you know, when people find out that a show's going to take 2 years to make, like, fans just look, they're not very happy about it. And I'm over here being like, do y'all know how long that's going to take to make? Like, you know, especially when you have casts that it's not just 2 main characters, it's like 5, you know, or, you know, say like Bridgerton, where you have 8 siblings or their significant other, you know, these costumes and like what they wear is not just, you know, like y'all said, like, it's not just spun up into magic really quickly. It takes time and money. And if you're going back to producers being like, hey, by the way, we need to readjust something here, I mean, that's bravery. And like, that's so brave. I get scared going to like my own bosses and being like, hi, so I need to do this, but I don't know if you want me to do, like yesterday asking my boss if I could start a TikTok page for our company. I was just like, I don't know if I want to do this right now. So like the bravery to just talking to the heads that are the powers that be, that is incredible.
Oh, see, that's why everybody should have a Gillian in their corner. Gillian is brilliant at it. She's tough but firm, and she doesn't take any prisoners. We only ask for what we need, and she's very good at working out the logistics of when she goes to ask for more money. We go with, well, we could do this, or this. It's up to you which scenario you would like to do, but these will be the costs. I don't do those battles. I'm really grateful not to have to do them, and I couldn't do them if I had to anything like as eloquently as she does. And they all fall in love with Gillian, so she's like the ace in the pack in the money department for definite, and in many other aspects too.
I mean,
Absolutely. And it's never a no. It's never a no, Jilly. You're like, okay, but what could we do?
No, but I don't want no as the answer. That's what we want. It's like, so what's my mom's thing? You catch bees with honey. So you've got to like give them options, and each one of the option is something that you'll be happy to receive. So here's choices, and adjust or not. I mean, as you said, it can be scary, but no one needs to know that you're scared. Just take a deep breath and kind of fake it till you make it. And actually, we're all just people trying to do the same thing, really.
That's
we all in it for the same end product. So people are like, oh, but the accounts department are our enemies. I mean, they're not our enemies. They're our friends, and they're also trying to do stuff within parameters. And like, we're all on the same show, which I think some people forget, and they become like insular within their departments. They're only interested in getting what they need, but that's not a user-friendly approach. So, I mean, like just listening to Kate saying we need to go to people for stuff. There was one scene where we were shooting in a stairwell, and the sound department were really concerned because there were supporting artists going up and down the stairs behind dialogue, and it was very echoey, and the floor was a solid surface, and they're like, we can't put carpets down because we're seeing the stairs, and like, what's the workaround? And with enough notice, you can make a plan. So we literally sent 150 pairs of shoes off to the tailor to get soft soles put on so it wasn't noisy. But it's those things which make it easy for everyone else, because the ADR would have been way more expensive than putting soles on the shoes. So it's anticipation, and got to ask. Got that already as an answer, haven't you?
One dream.
That's awesome. We call it a shuck and jive. I don't know. It's like a shuck it and jive.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's great advice. Like I definitely can use that in my life too. Like we're all on the same team. So like I love that. Thank you so much. And this season we not only had the Midsummer's Ball, but we also had the Masquerade Ball, which we have yet to see, which I'm very excited because there's been other like influencers dropping their behind the scenes looks, which I'm super excited about. If you had to choose which ball that you would like to be invited to, which would it be, and what would you wear?
I definitely would rather poke a rusty pin in my eye than be invited to a ball. However, I would quite like to be in a glass box in the middle of the room so I could be an observer of everything and nobody could see me. But the actual being there is not my vibe. I would literally rather die. But the girls, I'm sure, would love to go and have a jolly old swing at a ball.
What are you wearing in the glass box, though?
It doesn't matter because you can't.
Instead of a ball, what would you much rather go and do in this world?
Oh, please don't ask me that, because you're going to make me look like the most uncool person. I absolutely love what I do for a living, but I love my time off, and I hang out in the country, and I walk my dogs, and I eat too many scones.
See, because I would love to do, like, in this past episode, we saw like Lizzie and Theo just like running around the house, just eating and doing whatever on the countryside. I think that's perfect.
This week I put myself on a scone ban, because this week alone I've had 3 scones. They're massive in Scotland, can I tell you, which is where I am, and I'm just like, okay, the scones are off the menu, and I need to get back to work, so the scones are out the window. That person in the glass box is what I would be at that ball, but the girls will look gorgeous, I'm sure.
Come on, Kitty, tell us what you're wearing.
I definitely would want to go to the Midsummer ball. Any opportunity I could get those fairy wings down the back of my t-shirt, I was doing it. I was absolutely obsessed with the magic. The set, like the dresses and the costume and the makeup alone was like incredible seeing. But when you walk into the set and it was all brought together, I was like, oh my God, I want to be here myself. I want to be at this party. I definitely would be in some sort of hot pink number though, definitely.
I like that. I would love to see a hot pink Midsummer's look.
Hot pink with the fairy wings, you can't go any wrong.
And the glitter, like as like
just everything tied in together so beautifully with that. I literally was like blown away. Like the first time I saw Aubrey with her hair and the plaits and her makeup test, I was just like, oh my God, I can't wait to see what you look like with your dress on. Christine with the flowers and the dress, everything, every little intricate detail. It was just like, I can't believe I'm standing here and this is my job.
Yeah, the blue of Lizzie's dress, it's to die for.
Yeah, they look really prettily. You know, we create stuff and we send it out to set, and often because the schedule's so crazy, rarely are you all on set anymore to establish it. I mean, I try and be there whenever I can, but the locations are far from where our workshop is, so sometimes it doesn't work or you've got fittings on. So, I mean, I'm embarrassed to say quite often when you see it for the first time in context is when you guys are also seeing it. I mean, I'm watching the season as it comes out. And I was literally, I think I messaged Gillian and said to her, I'm so proud of what we created there. It actually just looks amazing. Just design, you know, but it just all worked beautifully. It looked lovely. And I mean, the hair and makeup on this season is another level. She's a legend, that chick. A total. Yeah. And she's got such a cool team. They're such great fun to work with. What are you wearing to the ball, Juanita?
Well, like a rare opportunity, I was on set that day of the Midsummer's Ball, and it was so beautiful. It was like a complete little world in the studio over there. It was completely magical, but it's too whimsy for me. I'm in the creepy, shadowy masquerade ball. I've got a mask on, and maybe I'm going to borrow Kate's answer from earlier. Maybe I'm wearing men's outfit. Maybe I'm wearing I've got the mask on. Do you know what I mean? That's I'm anonymous. Nobody knows what I'm doing. Either that, or I'm going all out. Gowns, boobs out, whatever. But I've still got the mask on.
You could do a combo of both. You could have the trousers and like the skirt like attached. Do the detachable train.
There we go. Exactly. Like, oh, who was she? Who is she?
Pattern, every color possible. Would you, Julie?
Say that again, Kate?
You would go to the ball and
I would be
color possible.
I think I'd be a dark angel at the masked ball. So I want wings, I want a mask, I want black sparkles.
Yes.
And I think I'll have a multicolored rainbow glittery petticoat, and I'll be that person who keeps lifting up her skirt to flash her petticoat and be almost suggestive. I will not be wearing a corset.
He's giving Mabel.
We need a
Mabel, I'll scrape my tits from all the way behind my back and lift them up.
we need
I'm with Juanita. All that like romance and whimsy is not. No, it's not my vibe.
We creep Jilly.
And it's like, oh, yeah, I want to. Or otherwise, my other answer is that maybe I'd be the person carrying the silver tray and getting all the gossip as I circulate, and no one even notices that you're there. And I'll be like the white collar and be like, hi, can I offer you a drink? And then as soon as you're back in the kitchen, I'll be like, I've got the tea, people. This person is that person. This is going on.
Possible not to notice you, girl.
Silent approach is not what I'm known for.
I think we need a Buccaneers ball now. There needs to be like how Bridgerton had the Queen's ball. We need now the Buccaneers ball so we can all wear wings or masks and all of the things.
Which ball are you going to?
Well, I think now you've convinced me to do the masquerade so I can still wear wings. Like the whole for me, I want a wings and mask. So now I want to go to the masquerade. I will say I'm such a I feel like this is my like so I like astrology, so it's like my Aquarius side I feel like would go to the Midsummers, but like my Leo side really loves the masquerade. And so I really would just love I like the both, like the mask and the wings. So I want to do both like you, Jillian.
More, get in there and get it all piled on.
Yeah, all of it. Just like
everything. More is more.
More is more.
It allows both. So speaking of the Midsummer's Ball and wings, can you share how you created them? Because I feel like a lot of people, not just me, the girls looked like they could just fly. They weren't like your typical, I go to the Halloween store and just buy some fairy wings. These were like, they moved with them. It looked like, they were fluttering their wings. Can you share a bit what went into like creating these magical?
We brought in a special costume prop maker to make them, and I think were you involved with that as well, Juanita? I think you were involved with the initial kind of idea about how we attach them and all of that stuff. I mean, the brief was that they needed to literally they needed to move a little bit, and they needed to look like at any point if they fluttered they could take off. So I wanted a real iridescence, I wanted a real lightness to them. I think we had, I can't remember, Gillian, did we have 3 or 2 pairs of each set of wings? 2, was it 2? Because when they initially asked for wings, I was like that to the director, are you sure? Because they're not easy to work with for a start. You turn around in a scene and you're poking the actress next to you in the eye or in the arse if she's bending down. They're quite a lot of work, those wings, and I'm sure Kitty can attest. Those girls are great fun. The cast are great fun, but they're the first to hoy those wings out and chuck them across the floor when they want to go for a cup of tea in between sets. So Kitty would have been, I'm sure, very much run off her feet and watching them because they were super delicate.
The content. Izzy Wings. She's Izzy Wings for the rest of her days in my phone.
Made them at her studio, then she put them in laterally to finish them off. She would bring them in and show us and send photographs of the work in progress. Each character had to have a special colour to match what the rest of their outfit was. But yeah, no, look, I'd never made a wing in my life, and it's interesting when you work with people who specifically deal with that sort of stuff. You get them in and the wealth of knowledge that they bring to that party. So you just give them the brief and then they run with it. I can't take much more credit than showing them a few photographs of what the end product I hope to achieve. And she far exceeded my expectations. And I would agree with you. I think they look whimsical and airy-fairy
and she did such lovely things, like there were some choices in the material choosing that she used, like she got mica powder, which is a ground stone, obviously a mine stone that's glittery, like before we have glitter. So it's not that contemporary glittery shine. You've got that kind of age appropriate shimmer of this natural ground glitter, basically, which was also so beautiful and added to that romantic, edgy feel. Hey,
yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Did you in terms of like the style of the wings, did you decide like what kind would go for which girl? Like what was the decision and like who got a certain style of wing?
Well, look, obviously you're quite led by the script and what each person has got to achieve in those scenes as well. So each girl had a specific design for what they had to achieve within that scene. I mean, Lizzie obviously has to go out and walk about, and so everything is considered. I think look, I came up through the ranks. I've done every job in my department. I started off as a trainee, then I was a standby. So with that, as the head of department now, and having Gillian, who's also done the same sort of run up, it means that, you know, you understand what my asks are of each member of your team. So when you're designing them, I'm thinking, well, what does Kitty and the girls on set need? How is this going to, how can we maximize the potential without giving them a head fuck in the process? And also, look, Juanita gets less respect than that. I take her the head fuck regularly and she has to just make it magic. And she never, ever, ever has let me down. And I'll go in with what I think is a really great idea, and she far excels anything that I could have imagined with anything I asked for. And the witchery that comes out of that room is unbelievable. You can buy a little earring of Vinted, for instance, and it arrives and it's not the right color of red. And by the time it's been shoved through that little room that she's in, it comes out like a shiny, sparkly bit of beauty that any blackbird would be delighted to steal.
Love that.
There's nothing that girl can't do. There's just nothing she can't do.
I now need to visit this room eventually, if that's okay. I want to experience the magic of what it is in there.
I'll have you in a pair of gloves with a mask on in no time.
We'll dress you up.
Awesome. I would have so much fun. We now need to like just create a TV show that's just called The Magical Room, and like kids go in like a kids show maybe, like where they like you learn a little bit about the costume department, but it's like every little piece is like magic and learn a little bit about it. So much visual symbolism in costuming. Were there any hidden Easter eggs or subtle details in the clothing that viewers might not have noticed at first glance but hold a deeper meaning?
Look, when you sent me that question, it literally filled me with anxiety because I thought, oh my God, she thinks I'm cleverer than I am. But then when I think the most obvious one that I can think of is, I guess, Nan's red dress. There was quite a lot of kickback about the colour from first reading that scene. I saw her in red, but there was a bit of argy-bargy because there were several other colours floated by the grown-ups, because they were very worried about the symbolism of red and the old connotations about her, you know, being the Scarlet Woman and the harlot and all the rest of it. And I was just like, well, I think if you're going to a black and white ball and you want to make a big impact, I couldn't think of anything else. And also for me, I guess the Easter egg in that was that she was going to that, making a big statement, going loud and proud about Ginny. So, and her protection of Ginny. So for me, that it was the blood of her family as well. It was the blood of her loyalty. So I would say that would be a big Easter egg for me. And I wish I was cleverer with every other costume, but I did definitely think about the blood. So you can give me a point for that.
No, I love it.
I definitely think that you're downplaying yourself there as well, because I think as you watch Nan's like progression in her storyline, I think that her costumes and her hair and makeup evolve with her, and like the way it's like an Easter egg in the direction that she goes. And like as you continue to see the episodes as they come out, it's like the power and the strength, it's all portrayed in that. And I feel like you see that the Easter egg there as well. So I feel like you've done one. You're very clever.
Thank you, Kitty. You a mutual appreciation society.
That's so good. I remember just like catching on that Liberty and I, one of the assistant designers, were having a conversation, and we were discussing the Dowager's costume, and there's elements that the Dowager had worn previously that went on to somebody else's, but I'm not going to ruin the surprise. I also can't really remember who it was, but I do remember us having a conversation of being like, oh, I wonder if anyone will actually notice that we've kind of snuck something historical in onto somebody else. So it's almost like there's a tail of the garment. And I can probably reach out and send you a mail with that information, but I can't remember exactly who it was, but I do remember it was something about the Dowager, and I was like, oh, that's clever. Oh, that's clever. Look at someone planning ahead there. It's definitely not in my field of usual.
I can make up a story for anything if it works to my advantage.
Anything.
I have another black skirt and the Dowager's got one that fits her, then that bitch must put the Dowager skirt on, and then we'll make a plan.
I'm going to give you a good backstory.
Yeah. I'll make a story up.
I mean, I think so. Like, just make one up, because I know a lot of people will be asking that. So I personally, I love the blood symbolism. Like, I think that's like speaks volumes for sure. And I will definitely be looking out for the heirloom passed on or little piece passed on.
You better not be lying now, Gillian.
I'm not just lying. I do remember Libby and I had a conversation about it, and I was like, oh, I mean, I'm not great with remembering the details, but I will find out. I'll send it to the mail for all of us. I can say, look, I wasn't talking complete shit.
No, because it's things like that a lot of fans just really love, you know, when they like are watching and they're like, oh, they wear this color because of this reason, or like, you know, if you didn't know, so they'll have like this little detail. So no, I love, even if you fake it, you know, came up with a story after the fact, I think that's still wonderful. You're still storytelling, so it's awesome.
And we're very good
I mean, also just
in those fitting rooms, can I tell you.
yeah, and then also we had a once a week meeting with the cutters, kind of a catch-up session, and I mean, the details are so thought out in terms of color, textures, who's wearing what, which is going on to which character. And I think we forget later how much we invest in those kind of decisions. We being like Kate and the design team specifically, there's like none of that stuff is overlooked, whether it's a little piece of trim or this, it's like, let's use this because it links into that, and this detail is going to suggest, like the trim on some of the bridesmaids' dresses was a shout to shout to tartans, and it's small elements which I don't think necessarily the viewer will pick up, but I just think that investment of time and thought shines out as like in the big picture without it necessarily being something that's 100% noticeable, but those little elements embroidered together make it so rich. So
like now masquerade sleeves.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's stuff that we take so for granted in our everyday work life that I just need to point out to Kate that these elements are so special actually, and not everybody does that.
Yeah.
So it's not accidental.
On Masquerade, when you see her outfit, she literally goes into that masquerade ball, literally all guns blazing.
Oh, I'm excited. I'm excited to see because like, especially, it's a web. Like, I don't think I've been more stressed when I watch an episode than the Buccaneers are stressing me out sometimes. I'll finish an episode and I'm like, like, just because of all the different relationships that are happening, keeping up with who's who.
They've done, I mean, this season it feels tight and it feels like a page turner. And I mean, like I say, I'm watching it in real time with you guys too, and I'm not really I mean, I watch a lot of TV, but I'm not that loyal to it. And I love the way Apple do the drop once a week as well, because it's kind of old school and it's really like reading a great book, isn't it? You're excited for the next chapter and you don't get that kind of fast result because you then have a week in between to kind of figure some stuff out and mull over and enjoy, and you're not just gorging. So I really like the way they do that. I don't know if any of the other streamers do that. I think it's interesting. I know they get a bit of flack for it, but I think it's just a much more interesting way to go.
Yeah, I personally love it. I used to be a binger. I mean, I'll still binge a TV show. I binge The Bear, but I absolutely love the weekly drops. As someone who watches a ton of TV, it helps with like just digesting an episode. So I don't, and also like seeing the details, because let me rewind back, let me rewind back, let me rewind back, you know, like that kind of situation where I'm just like always trying to understand what's going on. And so like when it's binging, you're just kind of like drinking from a fire hose, but these weekly drops, you're able to just like enjoy it. Granted, now we have the Summer I Turned Pretty and the Buccaneers all dropping on the same day. So Prime does it weekly, or is moving to weekly drops. And I know HBO Max has always been weekly drops. I'm waiting for Netflix to get on the train, because they're like part 1 and part 2 is more annoying than just a weekly drop, in my opinion.
Your audience more invested. And I mean, if you can keep your audience from week to week, you must be doing something right rather than that binge watch. If you can keep the numbers up on a week to week, it's clever. It's a really clever way to do it because it makes you hungry for the next course, doesn't it?
Well, in the conversations, I say this all the time whenever I talk about the argument for week to week, is if you look at when I think it was Euphoria season 3 or season 2, I can't remember, when that season dropped, Bridgerton season 2 had dropped, and both shows are massive in their own rights. And so, but the thing was, is that Euphoria was dropping weekly, and the longevity of conversation and chatter online lasted a bit longer than Bridgerton when Bridgerton dropped all at once. So you had them both premiering around the same time, but the longevity of the conversation for Euphoria lasted longer than that of Bridgerton, in terms of like general audience. Obviously,
a bit more relevant for longer, doesn't it? Keeps it in the.
1,000%.
It's clever. I mean, I guess it's
yeah.
Smart.
And you never know what also is happening in the like culture, you know. So like I don't know if y'all saw, but you know, Coldplay showed that as he and so like you know, it's interesting. Sorry. It's interesting that situation happened, and then you have like the Summer I Turned Pretty where all the couples are cheating on each other, and then the Buccaneers where everybody's cheating on each other. It's just like you can't plan for stuff like that to happen, and it also pertains to your show, but the fact that it does happen also helps you in terms of marketing if you kind of like use it.
Listen, it's just a different world nowadays, though, isn't it? But even if we're doing this, it's
Yeah.
just a world. It's clever, and it just opens your content up to an audience that you might never ever have reached.
Yeah. Oh, 1,000%. It's been really interesting too to see like shows that you know, I think traditionally would have been catered more to women are now being able to bring in men. Like I remember where Bridgerton season 3, a lot of husbands were starting to watch, and normally they're not the ones, at least straight husbands are not the ones that are watching shows like Bridgerton, you know, because like you look at like the Golden Age, and I would even say the Buccaneers, the gays are watching. So like, you know, when you look at in terms of like what we live in now, it's really interesting.
Just a much broader audience. It's great. It's much more inclusive.
Yeah, I love it. I love seeing everybody get involved and have so much fun, because especially with the romance genre, I love romance. I don't care if it's modern or historical. I do tend to go more historical romance, but like romance, Celine Song, I've been quoting this all summer, but Celine Song, when she came out with The Materialist, she talked about how, you know, people don't take romance genre very seriously, and will say, like, she said, you know, people take superhero films seriously, but not everybody knows what it's like to be a superhero, but everybody knows what it's like to fall in love, which is why romance should be more, you know, taken seriously over like superhero films.
Well, I think also as well, there's such a lot of shit going on in the world.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Of escapism, and you know, of course, I think the lovely thing about our show, which makes it more relatable as well, is it's got a very contemporary edge. It covers a lot of topics that we are now much more au fait with, and I think you know, yes, they are running around in period, I do that in inverted commas, gowns, because I know I've been as much applauded as slated for what I do, but then, as I say, I never set out to make a documentary. I think the context of our show and the storylines in our show are really contemporary and really modern, and you know, contemporary modern back in the day, but we just didn't know about it.
Yeah, and I think what I love so much about like Buccaneers is like y'all are also giving more historical voices that weren't necessarily given a voice now. I said voice way too much. But like, you know, like the LGBTQIA plus community, like that's what I love about the Buccaneers and like Bridgerton is the fact that like you're able to give a group of people a voice where like historically they were not even going to keep record of them, you know, like nobody was going to talk about them like in my history book, but now they have a place in history. And so like they have real lives, you know, and so especially, or like people of color, like I'm Samoan, and so like, you know, seeing women like Conchita, who is a woman of color living her truth, you know, I can see myself in that time period. And so that's what I love so much about the Buccaneers. That's why I love Conchita so much. Even Lizzie and Mabel, you know, like those women, you know, even though they're navigating a world that not, you know, most historical dramas would ever dive into. So that's why I love the Buccaneers so much.
I think in the kind of first thought of a Victorian lady, I don't know whether it's because, you know, my go-to would have been when I was younger, would have been an English lady, which is a bit somebody that was downtrodden and, you know, actually, or, you know, kept in a box and spoken to when spoken to. But the reality of it is, you know, they would have had friends, they would have been probably smoking a cigarette and having a good cuss behind a curtain and thinking the member of a bankers. But I feel like what we do is we allow them the voice. And I think that's what's clever about it. I don't think it's a voice that we've invented. I think it was a voice that was definitely always there, but it just wasn't heard. And I think that's the thing that Catherine's done cleverly. And that's what makes the show interesting, and it makes the show, I mean, it's doing well, the show, it's popular, and it's because it's resonating.
Yeah, it reminds me of like a historical version of like I don't know if you've ever watched One Tree Hill. Like it brings back like One Tree Hill had like storylines where you're just like, that's happening. That's how I feel when I watch the Buccaneers, which I love. Like I love you know, there's everything about it that's very modern, but in a historical time. So y'all have done an incredible job. So I've especially this season, I can't even like tell y'all how much I have loved this season and all the colors.
It just gets better.
I can't wait. Like I'm ready to see. Like I think Juanita, you mentioned she goes to Parliament or court.
Yeah.
Nan does, which I'm like, I'm ready to see that. I'm so ready to see that.
Her looks for court are fierce. They're fierce. It's like armor. And Christine, listen, that chick could wear anything. You can chuck anything on her and she looks $1 million and she owns it. But I think Christine, you know, she can be quite methody, and I think with what we created for those looks really played into how she wanted to portray Nan, and we gave her the armor and the contemporary version of what that look might be, and she totally owned it.
She felt powerful in that, and she looked powerful.
Oh, I can't. I'm so excited. Whether you're on set or prepping the outfits or designing them, what is one item that you have to have at all times, and why is it important to you and the job that you do?
Go, Jilly.
Safety pin. You can be guaranteed every costume person in the entire building has at least 3 safety pins jabbed into their clothes at some point. And whether it's to do alterations, attach a note, pin a note to your own garment, own clothes so you don't forget it, I'd say it has to be the safety pin. You can rip the tape, you can open boxes. It's the answer. So I wanted to get in there first because I'm sure everyone's going to have the same answer.
We are in sync. We are in sync, Jilly. Conchita, and mine is a note safety pin to my person with what is happening right now. Like, breakdown is so many tiny processes, like a layer of paint there, one coat of paint over there, let's dye over here, let's wash that, something's in the tumble dryer, but don't leave any of them for too long. So I just have to safety pin a note to myself with what's going on, so all my ducks remain in a row.
And you can walk. Is it a tiny one?
A normal one, but it's a long note. And then you can walk into Jillian in the corridor and she'll be like, don't forget the reading your little note. And you're like, oh my gosh. And you run back and grab whatever it is out, the tumble dryer, the pot, the blah, the blah, the blah.
Well, buy me some safety pins now.
It's very punk.
What's your go-to, Kitty?
Oh my God. Well, I feel like picking one thing for what I do is quite stressful because there's so many different, you'd be surprised that jeans and a t-shirt never anything would go wrong when you wear it yourself. But when you go on a film set, somehow everything can go wrong with jeans and a t-shirt. I have like a little kit bag that stays on my body of like an emergency thing. But if I had to pick one thing, I'd probably go with double-sided tape. It can fix a lot more than you think.
Okay. So double-sided tape and safety pins.
And I write all my notes and pin them onto myself. The girls always laugh at me because I'm always like, I have a diary, I write my list for the day, and the minute I leave my desk, I have a manila tag. Gillian normally buys me bright pink ones because I'm obsessed with pink, the least girly person I know. But then I have them pinned onto me, and sometimes I look like a centurion. I can go with several pinned all around the hem of my t-shirt for each department. What do I have to ask them? Where am I with that? But yeah, I definitely think the manila tag and the safety pin and my mobile phone, you're always taking little photographs. You know, even you walk through the production office and somebody's got a green blouse on and you think, oh, I could use an element of that. So you're always snapping little bits of treasure.
I like that.
And
Wait,
I
I
have to say
definitely
that your manila, sorry, Kitty, your manila notes are the guide. You know, I look at my rail of things to do, and there they are with your little Scottishisms and colorisms and notes of where you want to go with them. So they are also a great guide for what you want to deliver. Sorry, what were you saying, Kitty?
No, I was just going to say, I think I might maybe change my answer in reference to like the Goals and Buccaneers. I think a shout wipe, which is a stain wipe, would probably be the one thing I couldn't live without.
Do they work as well as I want them to? Because I only discovered them on this job, and I'm like on myself. Did they work?
It depends on the fabric, but a shout wipe with a water wipe dabbed around it so it doesn't watermark is king.
Gorgeous.
I've got trauma stories of the shout wipe from my standby days in a specific Yves Saint Laurent. So yeah, I avoid a shout wipe at all costs because it made me cry.
You go wrong.
that journey made me cry.
With a watermark.
Oh.
Yep.
Were the tied to go pen, or is that like what it's similar to a shop wipe?
Yeah, kind of. It's like a single pack of little wet wipe situation with like magic inside. I'm sorry, Gillian. But...
Yeah.
This is great.
Trauma.
She's like, no, never again.
Especially if Josie's got a No, they were literally my go-to thing, especially if Mabel was on set and she had to carry a glass of champagne in a scene. We'd need those shout wipes on standby constantly.
Do they actually drink champagne, or is it like a mixture of things?
Oh no. It'll be like a Prosecco. What would you call that in America?
Can you imagine if you gave booze all that champagne while they were shooting? We'd never get anything.
I kept asking the props department if Mabel could just be an alcoholic and that she'd already finished her drink by the time that she had it for the scene, and they were like, no, she needs a little bit.
Thirsty Mabel. Can't you have the empty glass?
Oh goodness. What advice would you give to people aspiring to work in costuming who want to work on projects like the Buccaneers, where style and storytelling are so deeply intertwined?
I think the girls, I mean, they'll all have their own answer for this, but I just feel like we have the luckiest job in the world. You know, I love what I do. I have a great laugh at what I do. Sorry, I've got a crazy, oh, he's gone, crazy dog. Well, I think if it's something that something that you're drawn to, you just must keep running down that road and chasing the light until you get the opportunity. And it's certainly a job that's taken me all over the world. I've met really fascinating people. I get to work. I mean, this is a tiny little drop of what my team was. And when we was thinking about putting them together, I was just trying to think, what's the best way to do this so that a little drop of each of us. But, you know, on Buccaneers, we have a massive costume team. I don't even know how many there were. Gillian would be able to tell me.
I think it was like close to 52,
Yeah.
between 52 and 65, depending on how many dailies, but it was a big team.
But we picked the team. Gillian is in charge of organizing all that. We picked the team based a lot on personality. We're all very big personalities, so we're not going to be everybody's cup of tea. My rule of thumb is always, how much fun can I have if I'm going to do this project? I want to laugh all day long. I want to be surrounded by people. Look, laughing doesn't mean to say you're not getting your job done, but if you feel passionately about what you do, why would you just not want to have the best time while you were doing it? So I just think if somebody has, it's more of a vocation than a job, I think, because the hours and the way we work is not for everybody. But if it's in your bones, you're sunk. You must just run at it.
I love that. And yes, I think laughing at work is the best thing possible. I always bother my coworkers. They'll tell you. I'll turn around, and because I come from a small town in Arkansas, and so I always have small town drama updates. So
I'd subscribe to those.
Yeah.
they are some wild things that people will do. It's just, I'll be like, y'all ready for some small town drama?
They turn, y'all ready?
Y'all ready? Yeah, no, that's yes. Oh my God, yeah.
I think so. I'm just thinking about that question, and I think Kate kind of summed it up. But one thing in terms of like trust your instincts is like often. So particularly going back to the conversation, like Kate's point with the red dress, it's like her instinct was red. There was pushback. Everyone else was like not red, but Kate stuck to her guns and was like, these are the reasons why, this is it. And believe me, if we'd gone with what the first choice was, it wouldn't have had the same impact. And it's that thing of like, this is the right choice. I feel this is the right choice, and I'm going to stick with this because it feels right. And I think that applies to choosing people, to making decisions at the moment. It's like generally your immediate response is the correct one. So trust that. We're so good at overruling our instincts and like a heart decision rather than a head decision. So you can't always go, oh, well, my emotionally I feel like this. But sometimes that first response is actually the right one. So like go on a journey, but you'll end up getting back to where you started out so often. And I mean, yeah, I think all of us really love what we do. It's an amazing, creative, off the wall way to work. Our hours are long, it's commitment, but I mean, what a beautiful way to spend a day. You get to play with fabric, play dress up, create characters, see someone walk into a change room as themselves and come out as a completely different person. Their body language has shifted, how they hold their bodies has shifted. You're creating characters and stories. It's amazing. And we're paid to do that. I mean, what a pleasure. What a pleasure. So I say if anyone wants to do it, it's like, know what you're getting into, because there's elements of sacrifice, but it's worth every minute.
Yeah, you got to find your tribe. I think that would be the thing. Like find your tribe of people, because you're going to spend more time with these people than you are your own family. So life's too short to work with people that you don't get along with. And regardless of the magic that you're making, it just makes every day so much better if you're working with the right people and you're surrounded by the right people. I love that team very much.
And I would say that if costuming or film is something that you want to do, that you should don't waste any time thinking about which part of it you should do. Just get involved as soon as you can, because there are so many people that make up a team that are doing the things you can't even imagine until you're in there. And you might surprise yourself at what attracts you. You might have wanted to be a designer, but then you end up being crowd supervisor because you love wrangling people and sets. And you know what is amazing is that every time I do a film job, and this team specifically, because we all pull in wherever we have to pull in, whenever whoever needs it, is that after years and years and years, I'm sometimes doing things I've never done before. And I'm like, oh, I didn't realize that this is what Kitty does all day, or what Gillian does all day, or, you know, Kate, we're helping Kate do something there. It's just like there's so many elements that don't waste your time trying to strive for one. Just get in there, be willing to muck in everywhere, and that's it. And it'll roll into whatever you're going to be.
I love that. Yeah, because as I'm like talking to more people, it's insane what goes into, and I'm on my own like film journey as well, like helping hopefully start a film. But like the intricacies that go into making something happen is insane. Like there's so many little bits of it that I feel like the average viewer doesn't even realize goes into making this magic happen. So what y'all do, how y'all touch this project, it's truly incredible. Like I'm just blown away.
Happy days.
Thanks. I always think when I see problems in the world, this is the other thing, and it gets annoying at home and in the real world, is like when I get home to South Africa and there's a roadworks that never are finished. I'm like, do you know what would fix this? 3 months, a film crew, done. This would be done. And then also when I speak with my partner, I need like 2 months to come down from productivity film brain, because he's like, you can't run this house like you're working on a film job. And I was like, no, I
Is
can't.
that what I've been doing wrong with the haters?
Honestly, there's nothing that you can't get that you would need in this world that you can't find through someone on a film set.
Yeah.
Like you can find everything and anything. Someone around you in the vicinity will be able to do it. It's a
amazing
concept.
But such a creative hub, you know, and everybody's got the same end game in mind. So it's, you know, I think if you get a good crew together, if departments are working nicely together, then we're all there to get the same end game, and we all help each other out. And you know, I think everything that the girls have said is true, but it's a really magical, special place to work. I feel very lucky, very fortunate. I love it. I mean, I love my time off now that I'm old, but when I work, I get such a buzz. And working with these people and creative people, having fun and making something special is everything.
Yeah, and I've heard the same with like Jenny's team as well. Like both of y'all, I feel like the reason why the Buccaneers is so magical is because both teams, both departments have created such an incredible environment that even the actors are able to take, you know, because there's not just sitting in, you know, the makeup and hair department chairs, but they're also coming to y'all. And so y'all have created magic behind the scenes in order for them to really create magic on screen, which is why I feel like this season has been spectacular, because the vibes that were started behind the scenes was able to be happening on screen.
Well, when I first met Jenny, you know, I was a newbie last season. Like I say, I only did the last three episodes. So to be asked back for this season, I was over the moon. And then when Jenny came on board, she just has a lightness and an energy, and we did work hard about. We talked about the fact that we both wanted to be painting the same painting, and I think we managed to achieve that, because what we made is something very kind of cohesive, and it looks like it belongs. And sometimes you watch shows and you think, oh, that's a shame, because I think the costume team were talking makeup team, and I don't know, she was very collaborative. She's got great ideas. I mean, that whole team are a hoot. They just kind of fitted in with us, didn't they? We just all melded really nicely together. And I think her vision was so close to my vision that I think we were just very lucky to pull that off. We were lucky.
Yeah, that's awesome. So let's see. If y'all could dream up your next project, what would it be and why?
Well, I know what mine would be. I'm on my project and I'm happy to be doing it. But my next dream project is Apple Must Just Give Us season 3. I think we're all for that. We're all jumping for that. You know, Gillian and I speak regularly. Kitty's gone off down to London to be on another job. I've already got my fishing hook out, dragging her back. I've already been Juanita about if it goes, we're thinking maybe this timeline. So and really that is, I'm super excited for it. I just feel that we just want to get another chapter out of that story. And I think we raised the bar this season. And I just feel that with the bones that we made this season, we've still got a bigger journey to do. And also to get the opportunity to work with this team again. Honestly, that would be first prize for me.
I think going back to do Buccaneers again would feel like going back home.
Oh,
It's like a real family, from the not even just the costume offers, just like the costume maker, everyone on set, all the cast. It's proper family vibes, and we just have the best time making it.
Yep. My answer too.
If we left you speechless, Gillian, that's a first.
That's the fact. It's like, what do you want to do next? It's like, I want to go back to Scotland and play with my family and make beautiful things. And I mean, I don't really get to spend much time on set, but it's so rare. I was saying to Mom, she was like, what did you love about it? And I'm like, well, the people are so great. And it's like, often on projects, I mean, we had 52 personalities and nobody was bitchy to anybody else. So like everyone supported one another in the team. There was no like hissing conversations in the kitchen that stop when you walk in. So like those elements, it's like a beautiful bunch of people all invested in doing something to the best of their ability in an amazing environment. I mean, come on, what more could you ask for?
Look, we do work. I always say we work like, you're approaching a look, and I put my idea in the pot, and I have a great design team that work with me. They're phenomenal, those assistants. They're young. I mean, they think of things that I didn't even know existed. And they also drop their stuff into the pot. And I don't need to take all the glory. I'm not interested. I just want to get the best result. And I always say to everybody, Gillian comes up with something, or Juanita comes up with something, or Kitty will say, oh, I've just read in the script for the next block. Can we possibly have this? It would help with that. I think we put all the ideas into the pot, and the best idea bubbles to the top. And that's what we run with. And in every case, it's a team effort. We all run at it together. It takes all of us to get to the end, and we all, it's a lovely way to work.
I love that. Season 3, that's what we're manifesting then.
Yeah.
I think we're all wanting, I mean, as far as I know, I think everybody's wanting a season 3. I know I do. Like, I'm not ready to let go of the Buccaneers. So
let's see. I mean, Apple just must press that green light.
Yeah. I mean, there's some shows that get the green light for the next season, and their new season hasn't even premiered yet. And so I'm just like, just green light it. Just green light it.
Ainsley, bring in the viewers, Ainsley.
Listen, I will rewatch everything if I have to. If they're like, if they need somebody to rewatch something, I will do it.
Thank you.
Oh, well, y'all, this has been like super lovely. I would love to spend a day on set with y'all, because the banter, like when Kate put in there, it was like, oh, we will have a good banter. I was like, not expecting how great. Like, I was expecting good banter, but I didn't realize how great it would be. And so
3, you must come over.
Oh, I would literally be an absolute dream come true, because I just, anytime I see anything, it's amazing. But then now, having met like members of like the makeup and design team via Zoom, meeting y'all, I mean, this has been so much fun. This is a great way to start my Saturday. My weekend I knew was going to be great, but it's even better. So I've really appreciated y'all's time. This has been absolutely wonderful, and getting to hear your expertise and knowing what you do really adds value and makes me appreciate the show even more. So I truly thank y'all so much.
Well, thank you for having us. I've really enjoyed it. It's also so nice to see those wee faces.
I can imagine.
Thanks.
Well, I love you all. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah,
bye. Have a good
Nice
day.
to see everyone. Nice to meet you, Ainsley. Thank you.
So nice to meet y'all too.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.